Hello everybody and welcome back to another edition of All In Metals. Today we're going to be talking a little more about ratios of dollars to stack gold and silver, and both also ratios of ounces between gold and silver that might be appropriate in a few different areas to think about overall. So on the screen, I wanted to jump into what is fractional gold. Of course, most of you already maybe are stacking, but just a refresher, there's both bullion coins that are fractional, and then of course gram bars that also allow some flexibility to buy some varying sizes. And of course, I have some of those on the screen here: 1 ounce eagle, half ounce eagle, type 2, and a quarter ounce eagle. And then, of course, in the middle, a 1/10 ounce Britannia, another great option as well if you're looking for something a little smaller. I'm not sure the exact price today, but they have been recently around $200. And I think then jump into the bars, even looking at the 2.5 gram bar, I think those currently are running $165, $70 in that range currently. So on the bar side, of course, here's a 10 gram. Of course, you can get 20 gram as well, and then a 5 gram, and then a 2.5 gram. So my recommendation is really, when it comes to size or fractionals, is not to really go below the 2.5 gram. If you're buying an individual piece of fractional gold, there are 1 gram and smaller as well, but again, the premiums on those become very, very high. And again, it might make sense just to see what's out there and what the premiums are on each of these. Might make more sense to buy, say, a 5 gram sometime, or a 10 gram versus 2 5s, or a 5 versus 2 2.5s, or maybe there's a great deal on 2.5 gram, or 1/10 for that matter. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to be kind of looking at, as I mentioned, the 50-50 recommendation for dollars. Spending $1,000 on gold and also $1,000 on silver. Part of that is because of the what I believe is the current undervaluing of silver and manipulation and suppression of silver price to gold. Although I believe both are being manipulated and suppressed. But at the same time, if you keep that ratio in buying on both, if and when the price of silver goes up, you'll be already stacked up on a good amount of ounces of silver. So we'll get into some ounce recommendations as well, and relative to the fractionals on gold versus silver. So let's shift gears here now. Okay, so in addition, on the fractional front for silver, moving over to silver, there are quite a few ways you could go there. In general, you would typically want to be stacking 1 ounce as your primary, and then maybe have some other fractional sizes. For the record, I'm not a big fan of the constitutional or junk silver. I could see where it might have a place, but again, unless you're just going to leave bags of that or tubes or whatever laying around, there's a lot more bulk there. But at the same time, why not just have pure silver in a pinch? If you do have some fractionals, you might be able to use those or use combinations thereof. And of course, anything in a SHTF situation is going to be, relative to the time and point in time and how expensive things may be, and also where rates of inflation are, which are not coming down anytime soon. In fact, everything that the Fed is doing is not only the Federal Reserve, but the ECB and other central banks, they're all pointing toward, if you will, unlimited bond buying and manipulation and debt issuance to try to manage this whole, it's not going to be a soft landing, but whatever landing they're trying to accomplish. But anything that they're doing is really just going to continue to be inflationary. But jumping back to the fractional silver, some things that I have purchased that I like actually are in the Canadian bullion. I like the half ounce 2018 polar bear, some of the older 2013-14 polar bear Arctic fox. Those are 1.5 ounce. The 18 polar bear, you can get the half ounce. And then There's a Canadian buffalo. Some of these are harder to find at a 1 1/4 ounce. And actually, my all-time favorite, probably favorite coin maybe, is the 1 1/4 ounce East India Company Rose Crown Guinea. And I got a picture of that up on the screen. But having a combination of those in conjunction with a bunch of 1 ounce should give you a very good ability to find sizes and ounces totals that you might need in the future, and or give you options when you look to maybe sell in the future, or want to just do a certain amount, or for gifts, whatever you're looking to do. So in addition to that, I would say back to the 50/50, as I mentioned, I see that more as a dollar value, gold into silver. But when you get into the things like the gold-silver ratio, which I'll pull up here, real quick, and we see here from early or late 60s and up till today. This is through June, so we don't have the current read at just over 90, but as we know, the ratio is over 90 currently. But you can see, and I don't know the exact average here, but let's just say it's between, certainly in this period of time, 60 to 70. So I've landed on what I feel in today's market, it's probably closer to 75, just based on the premiums that you would pay for silver versus what gold premiums are. So, but I would say a good target, if you're talking versus 50/50 dollars gold to silver, is maybe 65 to 75 ounces of silver per 1 ounce of gold, based on this averaging. And of course, now you may be able to get more ounces of silver, of course, per 1 ounce of gold. So, and then, as I mentioned on the fractional silver, using 1 ounce, ½ ounce, 1 1/2, 1 1/4, I also think a good fraction or ratio of that to your larger bullion sizes, if you will, or bar sizes, where you get 2 5 ounce, 10 ounce, 20 ounce, and larger kilos. I think perhaps stacking a ratio of about roughly 50% in the ½ ounce to 1 1/2 ounce, primarily with the 1 ounce coins in mind, and then of course the other 50% of your silver stack perhaps being in larger bar denominations. So an example of what's currently in the market, we can see the Philharmonic silver. These are tubes of 20, going for about $472 per 20 ounces, and of course Gold Eagles right now at $1,842. So a quick example of how that would work out, and I've already done the math here, but we had 473, I just rounded up, times 4, that would give you 80 ounces. So 80 ounces here would cost $1,892 versus $1,842 for 1 ounce. So so basically you're getting a little under 80 ounces per 1 ounce of gold if you were to, say, buy Philharmonics to the American Eagle. So additionally, there's the Canadian Maple, again a beautiful coin, 25 roll, $6.59. So maybe it's you can mix and match 20 ounce rolls versus 25 ounce rolls if you're trying to match that up more succinctly. But this gives you an idea of that also by comparison of depending on what your budget is for that week or month or couple month period. Perhaps you're looking at some fractionals, which we touched on earlier. Here we see anywhere from 2.5 gram, which I showed earlier, to 5 gram to 10 gram. Just kind of jump into the pamps. I will note though that I see here, if you're just doing a quick analysis, 5 grams at 304 versus 10 at 581. That's double the amount of grams for obviously less money, so there's a less premium on this one. So if you're able to, I would maybe jump to the 10 gram bar or fractional. And of course the idea here is if you're looking to layer in dollar for dollar, 50-50 split roughly, one could buy, say, a 10 gram fractional gold bar at 581, and perhaps maybe a roll of 25 Canadian maples for 660. So, but you can see, you just got to do your own shopping and decide what you would like, and maybe one purchase you go a little more dollars on the silver, or vice versa the next time. Or maybe one time you're just buying gold or catching up on silver, or in times when the ratio is above 90 like it is currently, maybe it makes sense maybe more to buy more silver and then catch up on the gold later. So I did have another article in here, and I did want to touch on this. I think this has been touched on by others as well, but again, to me this is just perhaps noise in the whole scheme of the paper trading, trying to suppress gold and silver prices, trying to make it, in my mind, that investors in gold and silver physical to basically unload it. Per a couple of videos ago I mentioned, do not sell your gold or silver. That's just my recommendation, not financial advice. But again, we may see pains as markets potentially move lower. The inflation certainly came in higher at 9.1, as we all know, and the Atlanta Fed GDP now is tracking at about a negative 1.5% GDP, which is if it comes in, would be the second quarter of negative GDP, and thus a recession by many accounts, by definition. Not the only account, but certainly it seems like we're basically in that recession, probably currently, and yet to be fully announced. But to me, again, this is a Reuters article. What caught me is this whole aerial exploration. And yeah, they did some surveys and analysis, but to me, I read this as more noise if I'm just kind of glancing over it. And then, of course, they throw a big number out there in tons, but this is gold ore, and then the actual amount of refined gold from that ore is certainly much less. But granted, this is a lot of tons for sure. But again, this is early stages. Does it exist? Are they just throwing this out there? This is just exploratory, etc. So I just thought I'd throw that out there, my 2 cents. Again, I don't get too excited about this. Some are saying, yeah, there's a big fine and that'll bring the price of gold down. Well, I don't know that this one item, which is, again, a potential item, that this might potentially exist and would certainly have to be further explored and actually mined to get there. So, and again, it's back to the what if scenarios in my mind. What if I think it's inevitable that we're ending the fiat dollar systems, but what if the next system is backed by gold and silver? That's my what if for the day. In that case, in that scenario, which is why I'm all in gold and silver, all in metals, I firmly believe that the next system essentially has to be. But I'm sure there's a lot of varying thoughts on that. So with that, I'm going to end this video, and thank you for watching. Give a like, subscribe if you like the content, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.